Good evening, welcome. If you have a mobile phone, if you'd like to put it on silent, please, thank you. Right, tonight we have with us Michael Wadada and Friends. A special event needing a special introduction, so we think it fitting that these professional, unique and enduring musicians be introduced by a music industry professional in the form of Steve Barker. Steve is currently host of On the Wire on Radio Lancashire on Saturday nights at midnight. A show playing alternative music for an amazing 31 years, the longest running show of its kind in the UK. Bands appearing on the show in their formative years, enjoying early exposure, include U2, REM, The Smiths, Depeche Mode and Joy Division. Prior to this, Steve was a journalist interviewing, amongst others, Jimi Hendrix and Yoko Ono in 1 week. So I'd like to hand you now to Steve Barker. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't actually often get introduced, let alone get such a good introduction. I feel I've got quite affinity with my old friend Mikey Wadada, Michael Ward, because we both really... It was mentioned that I was a DJ on Radio Lancashire, presenter on Radio Lancashire, and Michael's been on the programme many, many times. But we both, after many, many years, we both remain solidly underground, I think. Despite our best attempts over 30 years and more, we remain an acquired taste. I've known Michael since the 70s, actually. And when his first album was partly produced by a good friend of mine and a good friend of Michael's, Adrian Sherwood, and we remain friends to this day. And Michael is such an unusual person, unusual musician, and there's not many around where you can actually go back to like 1979. You go listen to the music from like 1979 when the album was produced, and listen to like what was on Radio 1 and Radio 2 or whatever it was at the time. And it's dated. If you listen to Sons of Arqa, Return of the Mozabites, then it's not dated. It sounds as fresh now as it did in 1979. And one thing you find about Michael's music, if you dip into any of his many albums over the years, they are timeless and they are unique. And I'm very proud to have been associated with Michael over the years and call him a friend. The other thing about Michael, lots of you people get plaudits, but he very rarely gets a true plaudit. Being one of the first musicians, not just in the UK but in the world, to actually deal with fusion music. Generally fusion music is thought about jazz, but Michael took fusion into world fusion, and that was a path that many others have followed, and very few have actually traced it back to one of the few originators. Also, you've got to give a big shout out to somebody who's worked with as many people as he has. I think I've heard it mentioned he's collaborated with over 200 people. I think it's probably a lot more than that. But out of those 200, anybody who's collaborated with both John Cooper Clarke and Professor Stanley Unwin is all right in my book, you know. So Michael's going to be playing later, and I'm with a kind of a group of musicians, which I'm proud to say includes my son Max on bass, who Michael occasionally calls on, so that's another reason why we've got a connect. And I'll be looking forward to hearing him like I've done many times before. I know you've seen Michael's been a regular visitor to this event in St Annes, both when he lived in St Annes and also a regular visitor from far off climes, like up in the north of Scotland as well. I think he might have come down for a bit of sunshine today. And I'm sure I can say on behalf of us all, he's always welcome, and we're always pleased to see him. Now, he's not going to talk now, but we're going to have there's going to be some music following the talk. So, and the talk is on Kali Yuga, which I'm going to look forward to immensely. So thanks everybody. I can say I'll be popping out later in the evening, and I will have some posters for the show, which are for my show, which you're welcome to take, because they're archive posters. They've been around for many years, but I have a few stashed away, and I think it might be you might find them interesting. So I'll leave those back. Thank you very much for listening, and cheers.
Well, I mean, I felt like I was sitting at my own funeral there. So there he is. He's about to go through into the void. But I mean, what can I say after that? Apart from, like he was saying, I used to come here quite a lot when I lived in St Annes, but now I live in Scotland. So I just emailed Rob and said, we'll come and do. Well, I thought a talk, but you know what emails are like, and he thought it was, I'm going to bring 12-piece Sons of Arqa live band. So anyway, we're going to do a bit of each. So Jeff White, who's sitting there, is going to, I phoned him up and said, we're going to do a talk, and I want to talk about the Kali Yuga. And he said, oh, I'm just writing a book about that. Just, you know, spontaneity, synchronicity. So I said, well, that will save me a lot of trouble, because you can talk about it and I'll sit and listen. So Jeff's going to do that, and then after the break we're going to have Jeff's our guitar player, by the way, but today we're going to hire an amateur guitar player, which is me, because he's going to play the drums, and Steve said Max is going to play bass, and my lovely wife Angela is going to sing with us. But on a serious note, in the thing it said I was going to talk about my career, well, I think enough's been said about that by Steve, and anything else can be found on the internet, but I find it's a very serious time at the moment, and it's you know, the music business is there's a lot of people in there that really don't know what's happening. The few people that do are not getting a voice. For instance, we have not had a gig in England or Scotland. No, we played a couple of times Scotland, but in England for what, 2 years is it now? Getting on. Yeah, we played Hungary a few times, but there's something going on in this country, and I'm sure most of the people in here know what I'm talking about. But what we want to talk about, because from the offset I wanted to bring Indian classical music, because to me that is a very way to escape the dark times that are upon most of us, and this can take you into another dimension, and the Vedic writings talk about all this, especially this time, which is the Kali Yuga time, and well, we haven't got that much time, so I'm going to introduce Jeff White. Thank you.
How you doing? All right? Sound. Right then. Kali Yuga time. Okay. My talk, because it's like saying, give a talk about Kali Yuga, it's a bit like saying, explain everything that's happened in the last 10,000 years in an hour. You see, so what I'm going to do, rather than just concentrating on Kali Yuga itself, because it won't have much context otherwise, I'm just going to give you a massive whistle-stop tour of everything Vedic as to qualify why we should take the Vedas seriously, and also as to what Kali Yuga is, how it affects us, and in a sense what we can do about ourselves more than it, you see. So there you go. Perspective. Yeah, lotus flowers. We often see lotus flowers, you know, you see like the Hindu gods and so on, they're always sat on a flower, yeah. The flower simply symbolises that you're sat in this reality, but you're not of it or on it like the water, you know, it doesn't sink into the water. You see, it's the idea of transcendental, how you can be in something yet not of it, simultaneously. You know, other religions reflect it, Father, Son, Holy Ghost and whatnot and whatnot. Also, I'm not affiliated with any of the religious organisations which preach, religion based upon Vedic culture. There's reasons for that. It's a separate talk in itself. I might give you a little shred of light if I get to it at the end, but that's the reason I'm still alive now. So I'm not going to go on about myself as such. So yeah, I'm not very PC either. I just say what I think, and I don't mean to offend anybody or anything like that. I just say what I want, and if you don't like it, tough. So there you go. Apocalyptimist, yeah? You can see what that says. And that's exactly what Kali Yuga is, yeah? Because you're all doomed. Everybody is doomed. I mean, these bodies don't last forever, Kali Yuga or not. We're all, we know exactly what's coming around the corner. That's not a matter of belief, it's just how our reality functions, yeah? However, once upon a time, in another dimension, we were all anarchists, yeah? And that doesn't mean that we went around burning shops. I mean, that's actually the coppers dressed up as people pretending to be. But anarchy, yeah? It's the actual part of the original nature of the soul, in the sense that we don't need any rules, we don't need any real masters or regulations in this sense. However, anarchy, people propose it in our world now, and it's a great idea. However, for anarchy to work, everybody needs to actually be in a state of enlightenment, yeah, and that's just not going to happen right now. It might happen for a few small collectives, but even within them, they're not truly enlightened. The nature of our reality is to be enlightened, and in that perfect dimension, it does work, you see. Vedic past, yeah, the Vedas are like really, 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 really old, yeah, Vedic India. I'm sorry, I've not produced it in Blu-ray or anything, but you can get me gist. Picture of ancient India, that's pre-Islam, yeah, when they had a big, massive country. The Vedic literatures themselves are huge. I mean, they're really huge. A large proportion of them have been translated. There's a huge amount yet that hasn't been translated. It's the oldest surviving and most complete literature in the entire world. There may have been others, but again, thanks to people like Islam and zealous Christians, they burned the bloody lot a long time ago, so this is all we've got left. Simple as that. And it is an instruction book left by cleverer people than us as to how things really are and what we're supposed to do about it. Vedic culture, we've all seen the big fancy temples and all that. That's how they all ended. Like a bit like Atlantis, all these things all merged together. You had a society that had its own specific culture and design spread throughout the world. They're all connected. As you can see, we've had many talks on all this, the Mayan pyramids and the Egyptian pyramids, and you know all about that. But they were well and truly destroyed a long time ago, and there's still bits of them left. The Brahmastra was one of the main things which destroyed that at the fall of man, or whatever you want to call it. The Brahmastra, that's the modern day equivalent. It's called Brahmos. It's a big, massive, very dangerous missile that they might use to emulate the same effect. But basically, the Brahmastra, the original Brahmastra, wasn't done using technology as such. It was done using sound vibration that people could emanate from themselves, or possibly from big seashells and so on. And and off it goes, lands in the floor, and you end up with one of them. I'm not saying that nukes exist. Maybe not. There's a good chance that they don't. Look at it yourself. That is what's left of most of Vedic culture now. That's what it looks like. There's huge amounts of Vedic culture left hidden under the sea. Will they let us go and check it out? No. But it's there. And again, there's bits of it around the world. Vedic science and history, yeah, it gave us everything that we use today basically came from them. People say, what about the Sumerians? What about this? What about that? They're all connected from the same root. There's the God particle, found it pre-10,000 years ago. Yeah, the Vedic literature describes how subatomic physics works. It describes how everything works, right down to the teeniest particle, and it gives all the maths and all the dimensions and everything you would want to deal with it. Yeah, there you go. They also give us, that's Dhanvantari. He's like the demigod of medicine. Yeah, they taught us how to use medicine, they taught us how to use plants, taught us how to build, dig fields, the number systems, the writing systems, the whole flipping lot. Yeah, the demigods. Yeah, there's demigods. You see in Hinduism that there's lots of demigods, and people say, well, I worship this one and I worship that one, and extra 50 quid, I worship that one, and so on. The demigods all have a function. Yeah, in this, they're represented as people, super people. Yeah, there's over 14 trillion demigods according to the Vedas. Yeah, there's a demigod that makes you baby, there's a demigod that makes you go to the loo, there's a demigod for how the flowers grow, and it all comes down to control of energy. All sorts of different kinds of energy that govern different types of things that go on in this world. There is personality and consciousness behind all these things, and each one of the 14 trillion of these is classed as a demigod. Yeah, but we ain't supposed to worship them. Yeah, demigods, they provide everything. You can see the happy guy in his little dhoti. It's called a dhoti. It looks like a giant nappy, and you can see that they're all governed by the supreme consciousness. Yeah, and then they work as like underlings, but only within this material universe. Yeah, give us everything we need. There's lots of weird, far-out people in Vedic literature because it doesn't just govern what goes on this planet; it governs what goes on in the rest of the universe and all the different areas of the universe. There's horse people. Yeah, there's cat people. You get cats like little cats, but there's also people. There's lizard people too, as well. The guy with the 4 faces, that's Brahma. They have little meetings as well. They all go to a special planet where they all get together and organise what they're going to do. Simple as that. There's massive writings upon all the different things that they've done and what have you. And sometimes, because Vedic technology, Vedic things are very powerful, sometimes people master them and misuse them. Yeah? And there's many times in the past where certain entities have become so incredibly powerful, they've taken over large swathes of the universe, and then there's been big battles and things. But if some of them have got that bad, that the supreme, if whatever you want to call him, has had to come down and deal with him themselves, and there's plenty of that going on as well. There's a very interactive, very colourful kind of writings. That's Nrsinga. He came to toy with Hiranyakashipu, he was called, and he took over the universe. And obviously when these things try and mess about with the supreme energy, he just bats them about. He doesn't ever incur any kind of damage. He just flicks them off like they were nothing. There's no competition. That's the illusion of the demonic nature. That's a really good bit of artwork showing the example that they gave stuff to us. Yeah. So we'll go into the different parts of the Vedic writing. Yeah, Shastra. That's the Vimanika Shastra. You see, the world's first aeronautical engineering manual tells you how to build flying machines. It's all there. It's all there. It's not allowed in the libraries or the schools. I was involved in a programme that actually donated copies of the Vedic literature to schools, but obviously it's very expensive, and there's only so far you can go doing that. You know, these flying cities, people have actually made flying cities, not just flying machines. How they did it, the whole lot, it's all there for those that can bother to read it. Even appeared in the crop circles. You know, some people might say I was doing a dance in my back garden thinking about spaceships, and the next day, hey, there you go, wonderful. Another picture of Vimana. Also, it goes into science as well. You know, proper full-on science about how energies interact, different fields, all the really technical stuff. It's all there, all in the Vedic literature. There's also stuff to do with cloning, DNA manipulation, and so on. You know, there's nothing new under the sun, people. There's a description of how to make a battery from over 10,000 years ago. Why did they make batteries? Because they had electricity. Newton, he didn't invent a bloody thing. He nicked all this stuff out of the Vedas. It's there, you can read it, dead simple. And Newton isn't the only one either. Einstein was big on this. In fact, there was plenty of them, and they never give any real credit. Obviously, Oppenheimer is famously said about when he, quoting the Bhagavad Gita, when they set off the first atom bomb, or was it just really a big pile of TNT? Einstein, he gave him a little bit of credit, but not too much. In the next slide, you can't read that because it's not very good, but he's basically saying, did you know they had aeroplanes 7,000 years ago? And he went, no, but we're not going to tell anybody anyway, because, you know, it puts me out of a bit of work, doesn't it? That is very interesting. It's a big metal pillar. There is several interesting things that lasted from the previous age. This is cast from the Vedic iron that he described made the swords and stuff in the Bhagavad Gita. It's been there for over 5,000 years. Nobody can still to this day identify the exact type of metal that it is. It's stuck in the floor like a big needle. It weighs a serious amount. It even took a direct cannon hit when the Muslims were invading, and it's still there. It works perfectly well. Oh, have you hooked it?
Yeah.
Oh wow, man. That sundial.
Sorry, somebody said, I can't remember where, the post you just showed was a type of iron that we can't make it on this planet.
Well, yeah, it's
It's a type of
yeah.
iron that we just don't have it.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I don't say I know exactly where it came from or whatever, but absolutely, it's beyond our means even now, but it exists. I mean, there's no way around that. That's how it is. This is there's all sorts of temples. This temple with sundials and moondials, and these sundials are put all the way around. They're still completely accurate now, which kind of helps prove the fact that are we really moving anywhere? They're on all different sides. There's also moondials, and the series of like teeny little beads, and you can put your finger on and count on the beads. There's videos of it on YouTube. It's dead amazing, and it tells the time as accurately as you could ever want. There you go, the Vedic year. Again, 10,000 years ago. They worked it all out one way or the other. Also, Vedic literature says that there's life in everything. Every vibration, every element, even in fire and stuff. So there's a body, you can take birth amongst all manner of various things, yeah? That's a chap called Siddhartha who invented a perpetual motion machine. Tesla. I'm sure you all know a bit about Tesla. Tesla was rather interested in this and made one for himself, which obviously didn't go down very well with other people, but still, you know, he respected the Vedas deeply. Again, there's one of the things you can do when you abuse Vedic technology. There's plenty of people out there today, the man, the system, New World Order, whatever you want to call it, they know, and they are manipulating stuff big time. This is a great example of manipulation of certain things, yeah? Shiva coming through the portal. Did you remember, we're all still here, we all survived September the 23rd, yeah? Yeah. But what actually did happen on September the 23rd? Just because we're still here doesn't mean nothing didn't happen. And if something big did happen, they wouldn't tell you about it anyway, would they? Also, you know, the Mayan doppelganger. The Mayans also designed CERN quite some time ago too. I mean, these things, they all share the same basic cultural roots. Another picture there, Shiva in there. Kali, as people say, they're trying to open a portal. They're trying to open the doorway to another dimension. I mean, there's stuff in biblical prophecy as well, which talks about the beast in the pit and how stuff was sealed in the depths of the earth, and they're trying to somehow conjure it back. They say, no, we're just looking for the God particle, whatever. But, you know, have you been looking at the beam? That's what the beam looks like when they fired it up on September the 23rd. People are seeing faces, and there was actually a really good one about I saw Kali, that you know, the face of Kali that I put up before. I saw that in one of the beams, but sadly I couldn't find the slide for it to put it on. But it is on the YouTube if you want to go and look at it. Just CERN demons, you'll find it. It's there. That's going on right now. The weird thing was that on September the 23rd, it was, what was it? I think it was 2016 days before September the 23rd, it goes into biblical prophecy that before the pit is open there'll be a great shaking around the world. You take that back, I think it's about April the 11th, 2012, and there was earthquakes all the way around the world, and people were hearing all these freaky noises in the sky.
Yeah.
And it adds up to the day. So,
Supposed to be the birth of the Antichrist.
well, yeah, quite hugely. This beast, whatever you want to call it, something, they're trying to get something through. They've been at it for years. You look at people like John Dee and so on, contacting the macrobes, and you know, it's all there. But everything that exists is energy and light and frequencies, all moving in different things. There's plenty of people say that, and most people don't think that's too extreme an idea to handle. Yeah, Vedas knew all about it, and sound. sound vibration. Vedic culture also gave us the violin, gave you the bagpipes, it gave you a musical system, systems of scales, different scales to suit different moods, different times of day. It was, you know, music for all occasions and stuff. There was no hard or fast rules to how exactly it was used, provided it was in the parameters that were set as such. There's a lot of room in Vedic culture for people to do their own thing, yet still exist quite happily amongst everything else. Everything is a vibration. Vibrations leave patterns, fields that you can measure, and Vedic culture made everything around these vibrations because they understood it for two reasons. One, because things work better. You know, the vibrations, the energy, you know, the way air circulates around buildings, it's more efficient to build buildings in that way. And secondly, it helps them remember about themselves and what's going on. Every energy pattern from every single vibration, or the demigods, or whatever you want to call it, has a specific barcode, if you want to call it that, yeah? Which in Vedas we call mandalas, interference patterns, just like in holograms, yeah? That's how they made the buildings, very nice. Very spacious. And there you go. That's Sri Yantra, one of the most famous mandalas. It represents the crown chakra, the opening of the crown chakra, when you've mastered Kundalini and you connect yourself to the universe, yeah? It's also the interference pattern for when you chant Om, yeah? Om, everybody's heard about that. There's Om, and you see it on the tonoscope. It creates that mandala. In fact, you can create all the mandalas by creating the right sound vibration. Again, it's a simple, provable thing. Easy to get your head around. You've all seen Masura Emoto, you know, messages from water, all of that. How thoughts and emotions themselves also have what we call a subtle or etheric vibration, which also can affect things and manifest on many, many levels. We've got the fractal nature of reality. Everything is governed by these vibrations. It didn't come out of a big explosion, and there is consciousness behind everything, as above, so below. It's simple as that. Yeah, there's lots of really amazing things which couldn't happen if everything was chaotic and didn't work to that system. These things simply wouldn't exist. Yeah, and everything that moves, if it's all a vibration, yeah, it is ultimately a virtual reality. Yeah, a virtual reality that's governed by a conscious higher being. You can call it what you like, you know. That's reality as it is, in a two-dimensional form, for you to have a look at, yeah? Oh, I get to use this amazing red thing now. That is the reality that we are in and aren't in at the same time. That is where we actually are. That's called the material universe, yeah? And inside the material universe is lots and lots of universes. It's called the causal ocean, yeah? Causal ocean, and inside each ocean are lots of bubbles, and each bubble is a universe in its own right, and there's absolutely tons of them, and you are there somewhere. That's a close-up of where we are now. You can see each universe, lots of bubbles. It's a big complicated story as how all the different energies exist, but the quickest way of saying it, yeah, is you've got heaven. Most people get the idea, like call it the fifth density or whatever you want, yeah, and then within that there's lots of beings, lots of souls, and they can all do whatever they so choose, because that's the nature of the soul, yeah? Just like you got a big piece of gold, you chip a little piece of gold off, and it's the same in quality but not in quantity, yeah? So it's like everything that comes from the divine has the qualities of the divine. So if the divine consciousness is conscious, hence we are conscious, the divine entity is eternal, hence we are eternal. There's 64 of these qualities. Yeah, is also an individual, hence everything, every snowflake, every last damn thing is individual. There's no way around that either. So for the entities that want to enjoy separately from the divine energy, he goes, no problem, I'll create you a separate reality, and you can go and exist in there for as long as you like, do what you want, and if you ever want to come out, here's how. Yeah? There's plenty of them. So within the universe, at the bottom of the universal bubble, there's like an ocean, we say. And at the bottom of that ocean, the divine energy expands himself into the bottom of the universe. And then through that, he expands himself one further time as all the souls in all the universe. Yeah? Every single atom has a soul at the centre of it. Yeah? Every single atom, and that soul, whether it's in a snail or a slug or some big amazing being, it's just they're all exactly equal, but they're all unique. Yeah, that's Brahma. That's who makes the universe. That's who weaves the DNA. Incredibly clever. Is the firstborn being in each universe. Is the oldest born being in each universe. And so it's, in a sense, God made the universe, but in another sense, his mate made it for him. Yeah. And why? Because he had this dream. He said, hey, well, I want to create a universe. And he said, no problem. Off you go. Yeah. And then he teaches him how to do it. Yeah. That's the Brahma Samhita. That's the book that goes the big whole, everything to do with that and how that happened. Yeah. So you've got different levels in the universe. There's three basic planes of existence within the universe. The lower, the middle and the higher. You see that in all ancient cultures and in Lord of the Rings. There's a side vision. Yeah, this came from NASA, so it's very, very, very good. This is our middle plane of the universe. Yeah, each area, each concentric ring, they're a bit like vinyls of different sizes, all stacked together. If you imagine that, so they all coexist together. Some are higher, some are lower, but they're all spinning around a central point. Yeah, we are somewhere within that. All of this is massive, truly massive, and there's lots of stuff that lives in it too. That's what it looks like on the side, and no, it's not a spinning ball. However, for the people that don't like this, that are still attached to the spinning ball idea, 1400 years Copernicus, great sages, also made up how the ball model can also work alongside, because they made the maths for it. And they also created the idea of gravity way, way, way before Newton did. So whether you're not happy with the idea of that we live on a flat surface or a round surface, the philosophy is still the same, because they figured that out way, 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 way before everybody else did. All the stars, everything moves around from a central point. The sun, the moon, all the different abodes, they're all different things. It says this very, very, very clearly throughout the Vedas. I'm sorry if it's a bit too freaky for you. If it is, it's like just light entertainment. Okay. So this is our earthly plane. It's called Jambudweep. Yeah, that's what we live on. Jambudweep. It's right there. Yeah. You got North Pole type thing at the middle. Yeah, and then round the outside you see a certain blue ring that goes around the outside. Now Kali Yuga is the fourth season of the universe. The universe has 4 seasons, just like we have 4 seasons on Earth. Yeah, in the winter season, which is Kali Yuga, things freeze up. So the big blue thing around us is now a big wall of ice. And strangely enough, they called it Antarctica 10,000 years ago too. So make of that what you will. That's our Jambudweep. Yeah, same model as used on the UN flag. And that's how Vedic society existed. At the middle of Jambudweep, you've got the magnetic north. They described it as a mountain, but it was more a case of it being an energetic thing. People have been trying to ballify the Vedas for years and years and years, but I've got the original stuff because I nicked it from a temple quite a long time ago. I had to, because it was going to be burned or something. Yeah, so you can see it illustrates different models. You've got on the lower planetary systems of the universe lives a slightly lower existence, and all these amazing flashy energy beings live on the higher system. Yeah, but that's below Brahma, who sits right at the super top above the North Pole, which they call Dhruvaloka. And also they encoded this into many of their ancient buildings. We say 7 levels, like, represents the chakras, but it also represents the different planes of existence. That's why we say a plane of existence. That's one of the ways how they've managed to ballify it. It works both ways though. The maths just about kind of fit to a certain degree, and it deals with black holes as well. What are black holes? Those are the bits, if you like an axle, say everything spun on an axle, you'd have to have a bit at the top and the bottom that the axle stuck in, and those are your big black holes. And the sun, carried along by Surya, they call it Surya, the sun god, has his chariot whizzing around the sky. it could be analogous, or there could really be a guy towing it through the sky. Be open-minded, you know. It doesn't. Not everything has to be cold, hard, nothingness science. You can be happy and say, hey, you know, are you having a good ride? Like, there's another thing if you want to see him a bit closer. That's Prabhupada. There's the guy that spent most of his working life translating the Vedas into Latin and then into English. He came over to America. When by the time he'd done it, he was 65 years old. He had no funding, no money. He just got a load of books and said, "What do you think about this?" Yeah, and I learned from him. There's also the third planetary body that most people are half aware of, called Rahu. Yeah, that's the black planet that goes round as well. It's not really easily visible, but we've all seen that. That is Rahu. That's the Nordic model of the universe. Same basic idea, but they used a tree, the world tree, Yggdrasil, yeah? Which is actually the peace sign, with the Y, that's actually the runic sign for the world tree, but on the peace sign it's inverted because it wasn't made by peaceful people, unfortunately. So I'll lead on to Kali, yeah? That's Kali. Pretty looking female deity. Yeah, she has a very simple job, and that is basically to keep the worst of the worst where they belong. The universe is ultimately a prison system. It's a filtration system for souls. Yeah, the first season of the universe, right? Souls come, souls go, and the most enlightened, the greatest souls go first, and we are all the claggy bits at the bottom of the fish tank right now. So there's not, everything deteriorates just like it does through the seasons. Yeah, the timeline of the universe. Yeah, they say God made the world in 7 days in the Bible, which, in a way, were they using the Vedic timeline, you could say that's fair enough. Brahma makes the universe. Yeah, each day of Brahma is 8.4 billion years, and a bit like in Faust as well. He goes to sleep at night, and that's also 8.4 billion years. In Faust, he did a deal with the devil for a certain amount of time, but he didn't take into account that the devil will count the nights as well, so he got diddled. So without going into loads and loads of numbers and really boring charts, you've got the 8.4 billion year, yeah? Life of Brahma, he lives for 100 Brahma years, right? Each day of Brahma is called a kalpa, right? And within each kalpa is what you call a mantvara. That's an activity session for Brahma, yeah? And then within each mantvara, right, there's that little blip, yeah, is an entire cycle of all 4 seasons of the universe. So we can create the universe, in a sense, at least 76 times per day of Brahma, right? So he's very busy, it's going on a lot. To us it seems like a long time. In reality, it's happening super fast, yeah? The first season of the universe is rather long. Yeah, people live for a lot longer time, they're more enlightened. The earth is fresh. There's like, it says what the planet's like. You know, the air's fresh. There's jewels on the beach, and just everything's amazing. Yeah, people don't value that stuff. They just see it as shiny things. Yeah, and then the next one, Treta Yuga, slightly shorter. Things are pretty good. Technology starts to advance. In the first stage, people don't need technology. They just meditate because they're dead happy and they just pick all this fruit and whatnot. It's a simple life. Dwapara Yuga, which was the age previous to us, that was the age in which all the fancy, amazing, megalithic, ancient buildings were made, and Atlantis, and all this kind of culture happened within this small period. And it was in this period where we were given the Vedic literature, because the new Kali Yuga was coming, so they did everything they could to encode it and write it down, so that the poor people, right at the fag end of the universe like us, had a teeny little chance, yeah. It works as a cycle, yeah, just like in our seasons. And at the end of the universe, this is the job of Shiva. Like in CERN, the job of Shiva is to basically knock all the chess pieces off the table so that he can put them back on again. Yeah, he's not evil or whatever. It's just his job is to clean up the mess afterwards. Beware of the New Age flipping bizarre, yeah. This is the New Age version, yeah. So created by the Zionists ultimately. Here you see the Golden Age, the Silver Age, the Bronze Age, the Iron Age, the Bronze Age. So that's like a timeline. A timeline is a pendulum, yeah. But it's not a pendulum. It's a circle. Yeah, we can see this in our own timeline. We don't go spring, summer, autumn, winter, autumn, summer, spring. You know, it goes round and round. It's quite easy to see that. So beware of these deceptions. Beware the bearers of false promises, and so on. Beware of Ashtray in the intergalactic thingamabob as well. They haven't had a hairstyle change since about 1981, and they're still in spandex. Where are you? Still waiting. Don't be misled. You know, so many people give so much of the faith to pointless ideologies that as time moves on, because nobody's updating these ideologies, he's stuck in the 70s in some bad sci-fi film now. You know, so beware. Yeah, just stick to the old stuff. Stick to the old stuff. Make of it what you will. Yeah, back onto Kali. Yeah, wonderful. Notice she's got a foot. The foot is on Shiva. Yeah, that's because she was that busy slaughtering stuff that she also had to go at killing Shiva because she didn't recognise him. She just put his foot and went, oops, it's Shiva. But then she took it off and he got away and he was happy again. Yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam. These are the main set of writings that we have on spiritual ideas. Yeah, as you can see, picture of the universe and reality there. There's loads and loads of books in the Srimad Bhagavatam. They're called cantos. You can read through them at your own leisure. Some of them are online, but right now people are changing them and changing the words in them. So it's getting harder and harder to actually get the real deal. Yeah, that's what they look like if you were to open one. Your first, that way, protect your corneas. Sanskrit writing, yeah, into Latin, into word for word, and then into English translation, and then commentary for pretty much every single verse. The way the Vedic literature was compiled was by a thing called disciplic succession. That's Brahma, yeah, guy who made the universe, he's having a chat. That's Krishna, that's what some people call the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah, he gives his information to Brahma. Brahma passes it on to Narada Muni, who is the transcendental spaceman, and he's like a sage, and he goes from place to place, going, "Hey man, I've got some new news for you. Like, check this out." Yeah, and then he came down to this planet a long time ago and gave it to great sage on this world, who had sort of slightly bluish skin. And then you've got Sukadeva. He didn't wear any clothes, by the way, but he was also an androgynous high being, so he didn't offend anybody. And that's Maharaj Parikshit, and that's exactly how it's pronounced. He was the king of Jambavripa at the same time, and everybody sat round and he spoke the entire Vedic literature and they wrote it down and took it from there. And he travelled around telling people about it. That's Prabhupada, yeah, the guy that brought it to us. There's Prabhupada with George Harrison there, one of his mates, helped to write his books down. And I think that was George Harrison's wife at the time. I can't remember what she was called. So Kali Yuga is basically the end of the universe. It is the end times, yeah? You see all the fat lazy people getting basically wasted by the energies of the universe. But Kali works in various levels. Kali Yuga isn't just like having a bad weather day and this big torrential thing comes and wipes everything away. Kali works on every level, every subtle level too. Every time Kali gets to enter the universe, she gets to predominantly reside in one thing that she chooses, yeah? In this particular reality, she chose to reside in gold. Yeah? Kali, California. Yeah? Gold, and lots of it means in Sanskrit. So basically, people like Lord of the Rings type thing, people are enamoured by gold. How much wealth can I get? Yeah, and the more of this stuff they get, the more the energy corrupts their own minds. We're all absolutely susceptible to the energy of Kali. Yeah, Kali works in so many different ways. And also we can see it in the sense that these extremely rich, elite type people, if you want to call them that, they're the ones, yeah, that are, because they're virtually possessed by the energy of Kali, these are the people that create the chemtrails, the fluoride, and so on, the big New World Order killing machine. This is the driving consciousness. If you've ever read any of David Icke's books, you'll know that he calls it the Lucifer consciousness. It's got many names, but it's basically the same basic idea, yeah? These are the descriptions of Kali Yuga. I'm not going to read them out like some boring arse. They are there. I'm just showing you that they exist and that I'm making this up on the back of a fag packet, yeah? Although I am going to summarise them for you, yeah? the 10 amazing predictions of Kali Yuga, right? 1. Religion, truthfulness, cleanliness, tolerance, mercy, duration of life, physical strength and memory will all diminish day by day because of the powerful influence of the age of Kali Yuga, right? Dead simple. Religion, what is religion now? It's a joke. It's actually so uncool and so unhip, and most people see it as some kind of fascist organisation, which it probably is, but in its true form, it shouldn't be. Yeah, truthfulness, everybody's a bloody liar, people aren't clean. And so, I mean, I don't need to go through every single one, but there's the odd thing that you might kind of think as well. The interesting one is memory will diminish. Why do you think you had to write the Vedic literature down? Originally it was passed on and people remembered it. Yeah? Oh, sorry, too many buttons here. There we go. The weather goes to hell, yeah? People have always tormented the tormented in the mind as well as the weather. Everything in the material universe is tied to what they call the three gunas, the three ropes of the universe, yeah? And basically every single thing in the universe suffers from three things, yeah? Suffering caused by other living entities, suffering caused by the natural world, and suffering caused by yourself, yeah? So we're in a complete state of anxiety. Most of the time nobody can focus on things, everybody's just fannying around and not really getting anything done. The corruption, as the earth becomes crowded with a corrupt population. Corrupt population is very interesting. It's a very controversial talk. If you want me to give it, I'll give it at a different time, because I just don't have the time for that. But for now, let's just call it corruption, okay? So, you know, of the social classes, who shows himself to be the strongest will gain political power. I'm sure you're well aware of what that means. This is interesting. A sacred place will consist of no more than a place of water at a distance, a place of beauty, yeah? So it's all very vague, yeah? Beauty will depend on one's hairstyle, yeah? Filling the belly will be the goal of life, and one who is able to, one who is audacious will be accepted as truthful, like people like Russell Brand. But 5 minutes, yeah? Thank you, I'll have to talk super fast now. Right? Okay. Yeah, relationships become materialistic, it's all selfish, people become control freaks when they were nice a couple of months previously. We've all seen that. Religion, people can become religious if they suddenly put a big white shirt on and get a flashy media package, you know, they'll get plenty of followers and donations. Famine, excessive taxes, people are going to end up living in the forests, living on roots and what have you. And in Kali Yuga, wealth alone will be considered the sign of a man's good birth, proper behaviour and fine qualities, and justice will be applied on the basis of one's financial power. So they were pretty good 10,000 years ago, weren't they? Duration of life will end up being 50 years for people in Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga, by the way, lasts for about, about 500,000 years, yeah? And we're about 5,000 years into it. The New Age people are saying it ends in 2025. That's a load of crap. So when somebody else does a talk about that, say, no, it's not. Survived it, made this lousy t-shirt. Oh, sorry. You're going to get killed if you survive Kali Yuga, because at the end of it, the divine energy comes down and gets rid of all the miserable bastards that are left on the planet. There's Maya. The job of Maya is to keep us all enamoured by illusion, like when you watch a film and your head's in the film and you forget about your life, and then, I want a new car, then it's the car, and so on. That's Maya. That's the energy of distraction, and a person that practices yoga learns how to fight through these things. That's the real meaning of Kali Yuga, yeah? That's what this lovely sign actually means, everything that the Vedas stand for. It's the primary sign, it's the sign of cycles, of the universe, of ourselves, of everything. And they've done a superb job at it having the same effects on you as like putting a cross at a vampire. You know, the Nazis are coming for me. God. Dharma is the way to get out of this spiritual universe. Dharma is the reversal of karma, yeah? Dharma, you could call it good deeds, spiritual deeds, right? In each part of the universe, Dharma goes down, yeah? The spiritual body, the Atma, we are but one atom of our bodies. We could look like that if we wanted to. We're reincarnated according to our desires. We can have any body we so choose. It's dead simple, yeah? Our consciousness, everything we ever do, is always remembered through our lives. At the end of our lives, it culminates to one vibration, and there's a perfect body to meet that perfect vibration. Just like tuning in a radio, you are your own judge. Yeah? The Lord is with you in the heart all the time. Have you ever had a little voice saying, don't do that, he's talking all the crap, yeah? Well, that's the spiritual consciousness talking to you. We want to unzip the body, we want to escape this universe. Don't worship demigods, or you take birth on the planet of the demigods. Demigods live for 10,000 years, which means you have to come back down here 10,000 years into our future. You don't want to be doing that either. It's not a bad move. As you reap, so will you sow. As you live your life, you'll get a body to match your next life, yeah? There is hell, there are hellish planets. For people whose spiritual vibration is that bad there's not a body to fit them, they go to the lower system, yeah, where there's nasty existence waiting for them. However, when that vibration's straightened out, they come back out again, spat back into the universe, yeah. You can get rescued. The yogis know this. They don't want to keep being recycled, yeah. So they want to go back up there. There's a method of doing it. It's called yoga, dharma, yeah. You can also, if you make a good job of it, you can be enlightened within the womb. Have you ever said, pregnant women, you've got that glow about you, yeah? Have you ever thought it's because somebody's in your belly? That's Jagannath. For those that focus, I mean, it's easy to focus upon the divine energy. It's got many forms, that's one of them. Really happy and cheery, you know. And there's another one, the universal form. Every single God, every single being is all part of this one basic thing. If you're an atheist and you don't like the idea of that, well, again, he's incarnated himself as the God of the atheists, just to deceive you as Buddha, yeah? Because they say there's nothing, it's all serious personal, it's all just this big energy, man. But at least they're being peaceful about it, which is a start, and they're still focusing, yeah? Shiva worshippers, like Rastas, same thing. Many incarnations, there's many ways you can get your way back. You can be creative, you can be meditative, you can enjoy nature. You can do many ways, yeah, to get yourself back to the original reality. The original reality is very, very vast. It's huge, and you can get rescued from this ocean, take a trip on a flying swan back to where you came from. There's Prabhupada. These are the people that represent him now. They're a bunch of demons, they're a bunch of murderers. I used to be associated with them. They're ever so holy, yeah, stay well away from them. Stay well away from them. A lot of them have died in freak accidents, strangely enough. They poisoned him. That's how they got rid of him. One of the cleverest, most dedicated people that ever lived. That is the mantra of how to get out of the universe, and that is the enemy talk.
Yeah, so after following on from that talk, it's all right.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Jeff talked about the sound and the raga system, the scale system. So we're going to demonstrate one of the scales with this one particular one's called Bhairavi, and it was a bit of a kind of one that they said was the lord of all ragas, meaning you can do anything with this one. But traditionally, it's played at the end of a performance, so obviously I'm going to play it at the beginning. And then we're just going to fuse it up a little. Okay, thank you. Well, thank you for listening to that chanting session. Of course, this is normally done, as you know, in a temple where everybody's chanting towards something. And I'm glad we were allowed to chant towards you, because that's been a great honour. And we're going to finish now. Well, I'll let Angela tell you what we're going to finish with.
We'll finish with, as Wadada and Jeff were speaking about, the Kali Yuga, the idea of the sacred lyric and the words. It wasn't entertainment. These things were used as meditation, for prayer, for healing, for relaxation, for being aware of being alive. So this last piece is the Devi prayer, and it's not a song. It's an incantation or a short meditation. So it's repetitive. So I just say enjoy and relax. I've actually got a little clip which gives you the Sanskrit lyrics and the English interpretation as well. If you didn't want to just relax and close your eyes, you wanted to read it, then feel free. And I'm going to sing it with a drone. Normally I play the tambora, but we've got an electric drone. It's easier to in this setting to play to. So. So that's the Sons of Arqa Unplugged for you tonight, and we'd like to thank everybody for coming, and who else? Wadada, do we thank?
Yeah, thanks for everything.
Yeah, thank you for everything.
Especially to Rob and Chris.
Rob and Chrissy, of
Rob and
course.
Chrissy.
Yeah.
Who like bring this together every Monday.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think there's anything like this anywhere else.
It's unique.
So we come all the way from Scotland, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you.